Good morning, everyone. That's your alarm clock this morning. Wake up. Good morning. Welcome to our December 6th board meeting. Welcome board, management company, all our members in attendance. We'll start with a roll call.
President Setzer.
Here.
Vice President Davidson.
Here.
Secretary Kincaid, present. Treasurer Hahn.
Present.
Director Hector, absent. Director Massame.
Seated as always and eager to go.
Director McGraw.
Present.
Director Reswally. Director Ricketts, absent. Have a quorum.
Okay. We call the meeting to order, and if you would join me in pledging allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag. On open forum this morning.
Clark?
Hold on. Let's bring it over here, Rick. We have nothing on the agenda, so we might push this off to good. Thank you, Rick. Okay, those that particular Clark me down. Just want to hold to good and welfare. We can chat at that point to ask a question or whatever you put that to us at that point. So we'll hold that until the end. Let's go with motion to approve the November 1st, 2019 draft Federation Board meeting minutes.
So moved.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Got a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Post that, and if there's any questions needed, we'll bring those to Janice's attention. All right, so let's move forward with our reports of the day. Start with the mayor's report. Rick, well, you can lead off the...
All right, we will. All Federation, because my line that I state would come first.
Okay.
All Federation directors.
Okay, I'm gonna draw a line on jokes of that nature then.
Okay. This is reality. I checked the Hillsborough County records, and all of the Federation directors presently sitting on this board are current owners of the condominium parcels and single-family dwellings in the district that they represent. Highlights. And this, as you know, we're now going into the second notice mailings for our annual meeting that starts next month. And there's information that you, all the members are receiving, and they need to get all of that material information back, whether it's a proxy or those amendments that an association may have. They need to get that information back to their community association manager. The budgets that we had a budget presentation last month, all of the association budgets need to be back into your community association manager by December 13th. We're doing that so that I don't, make any mistakes, so that we get the right numbers down so that those budgets are put into this second notice mailings. So it's real important that every association gets their budgets back of any changes that they have, so we can prepare that for the annual meeting mailings. OLM is going to have their inspection on December 16th, 17th, and 18th. Work orders continuing. I think a couple POCs and less work orders being done this time of year. We had a total of 24 work orders in November. Mabel says yes. Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, and Section 4, you see that. And we had strong lease applications, still lower than last year, comparatively, about 50 less leases this year. And property is again less, 50 transfers than last year. So, everything else, your emergency contact information forms, those went out in your first notice mailings for your annual meeting. Everyone needs to submit those back so we get the current information on in case of any emergency. The phone number to call for non-medical emergencies is 813-642-8990. And we want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, blessed holidays, and a Happy New Year.
Before I let you go, Rick, you skipped over one point, and I'd like you to mention it. It is regarding Terminex and the work we have done. I know Denny is sitting against the wall over there with all the work she has put into it. If I am correct, we are back to a schedule of a 2 to 3 day with Terminex.
That was a thumbs up
After
from
being out,
yes.
after being out a 3-week schedule, we have worked with Terminex to get it back to 2 and 3 days. So I appreciate the work that you have done on it with the contract committee and with Terminex, and what your people in your office have had to put up with over the past few months. I know it's been trying, but at least we are back on schedule, brought together, and you did note it in your thing. The second question I wanted to ask you in your work with landscapers. If I am correct, you have been working with the landscapers and are receiving soil moisture checks from the landscapers on areas that may be too dry or too wet. You do receive those from the landscapers today, is that correct, according to their contract?
We do.
Okay, thank you.
Rick, guys, have and then first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Jack, and the contract committee for working with you guys to get the Terminex stuff put back together and back on track. I was looking at your graph on your second page relative to the landscape work orders and their categories, and I appreciate this this type of graph because if you're going to manage it, you need to be able to measure it. This is good visual. I see extraordinary line of damages out of the different types of issues. To me, damages are ultimately controllable, and should be. What actions are you currently taking with the contractors? I'm assuming that one or two have the majority of these, maybe. I don't know whether it spreads equally among all of them. But what actions are you taking now to discuss with them? Any preventive steps, any preventive measures, any proactive steps they can do? How do we work with the associations to put stuff in such a way as to not be so easily damaged, so there's not so many costs attached to this?
With the landscapers, and that was brought up by a meeting that I had on Monday. Training, each one of the landscapers now, off-season, they are training their employees to take better look at attention to detail, and also be safe, use the best practices. One of the things that we're seeing is just not attention to detail, where when they're spraying for weeds, they're spraying outside of the bed, and that's just laziness or lack of training. So they're doing that. The other thing is we are following up through the work order system. We've asked, matter of fact, talked to a manager today, dealing with one association, that the mowers primarily, but also the edgers. The edgers have a blade, and unfortunately, if they're going around and the line wasn't cable line or whatever line, and this is what happens, they may have not have hit it in 3 months. If they go slightly different on their pattern, bang, they'll hit it because some tables are only put down less than an inch deep. So we're working with contractors on just making sure that they pay attention to detail, and we'll follow up with the damages, pictures, document, and then get that back, and then find out who is responsible, if it is. We also, as far as the contractors are concerned, one of the things is, and everybody knows this, slow down. You gotta slow down the mowers, or any other, even the guy doing the edger. If he walks too fast, he's gonna be throwing dirt, throwing everything out, but the mowers have to slow down. This being the off-season, the grass is not that thick. So they feel they can get done 10 minutes earlier because they're moving along at too quick a pace. So that was the other things that we've recommended, training to the crew leaders of each one of these. So it's a constant, but you're right, Brian. When you do see damage, 10 damaged work orders out of 24, that tells you that that's a concern that the landscapers need to be noted of. And,
Certainly an area that we need to focus in on and do everything we can on our side. And again, as you and I were chatting, I'm not really upset if you run over it, as long as you pay for it. But, you know, why are we running over it?
why are you running over?
You know, a friend of mine who wrote a book called Productivity Power did say sometimes you have to slow down in order to go fast. So maybe we should remind him of Jim Timmy's quote. Slow it down a little bit. All right, very good. Thank you, Rick. Ginger, you're next on the block there.
The chopping block?
Speaking block, walking block, some kind of block.
First, I want, a lot of you have jackets on. Are you all warm enough in here? Feel okay?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. Ken said good. Just wanted to check. I want to start off, it's not in the report, but since we did announce the relocation of Louise Landry, I wanted to introduce Tasha Salinas. She's in the back if you want to stand up, wave. Tasha comes to us with, I think, a 17-year history over at Sun Towers, and she's just getting, but she is a very resident-facing position, so a lot of people will wonder who's this new lady. So just wanted to introduce her and put a face to a name. So she's doing a wonderful job and learning as quickly as she can. Going back to my report, I'll just touch on a couple of items. You can see the winter series sales figures. We haven't even started that series yet. The first show is December 16th. We've already sold just shy of 5,800 tickets, so it's always a nice kickoff, and hopefully throughout the season we'll continue to sell those. We don't always have a December show because there's so much competition for the holiday events and things, so this year we do have a December show in there. You can see in your fitness and spa uses, interesting, November over November, we had a 12% decline. People were eating too much turkey, had too much gas, I'm not sure. But year over year, we're still up 1% in usage there. I did include the CA program. While we did pass that one-year trial, it's interesting to note those sales, they are 7.8% of the spa sales in there. So we'll just keep watching those and hope that climbs over the coming up season here.
What did you say that percentage was?
7.8 of the total merchandise and sales. Just a quick note here. We have had the Christmas and holiday hours are out. We always based on historical usage and head counts. And we had, while the South Club and the Nantucket community pool at Nantucket are open, some people got a little upset that the main clubhouse pool was closed. So even though it is posted, we are opening that Christmas Day and New Year's Day. Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, from 8 to noon. So it will be open. I guess families are in town, even though there's a number of other pools to use. They gave me their opinions on it being closed that day. So we try to accommodate as best we can. The bathrooms are closed, but the pool is open for those folks that prefer these pools. Also, just a note, this isn't in my report, but we had a resident call the Department of Health. I, for the life of me, will never understand that. But the inspector came out, we passed with flying colors. He came out the next day and inspected all the pools and whirlpools. All of those were fine. We just had one, it wasn't even a violation. He just asked us to get a new rope on the life-saving ring. It was a little frayed. But that makes 5 times by, I think, 3 different inspectors. That is incredibly unusual, but our residents continue to want to keep us in check. But good news is there's no findings, no violations. So all the pools are safe, all the water's good. Moving on to the projects, the DOT signage on the trams is all completed with the owner and the operator's name in separated locations, so that's completed. We're still working on some of the other documents there that I'll get with the board on once we get some final information. The notables down at the bottom under security, there is a mistake here in number 1. The golf cart path, arm and electronic station, the pedestal, they were not damaged by a car. I misinterpreted what I was told there. It was initially hit by a golf cart and then a car after that went through. Since we've been able to view the footage, we saw it was a golf cart. It seems to be a lady. There's no markings, there's no license, there's no decal. We have not been able to identify the ramrod lady, but she hit it and then the arm fell off and she just kept kind of ramming it to the point where it actually cracked the slab, the concrete slab. I know, you can't make this stuff up, folks. And we're going to have to repair that. If we can locate her, we will send her the bill, but we also are going to be installing some signs for the amount that people read signs, you know, that no cars go through this gate, you know, I have no words for this golf cart.
We're going to put a new show on the access station called KP's Most Wanted.
Reality TV, I know, it's crazy. We did get a call about a golf cart parked at the upper lot. So, you know, the guards went up there and for some reason that was a golf cart. It's property of Scepter. We don't know why that was up there, but because of my membership report, in fact, for Miss Rava being concerned about golf carts parking in unusual locations, we now are getting people identifying them and seeing where golf carts are parked off in areas that seem unusual. So the guards are more than happy to go check that out. Also, security would like me to remind everybody, this silver decal, if it is on your car, will be no longer valid to get you through the gate as of January 15th. Okay? If this is on your car, go see security. The old silver decals will be stopped by security on January 15th, and a flyer informing the resident of the expiration and procedures for obtaining a new one will be given to the driver. Posters will be placed in the clubhouses at the gate entrances to inform residents of the decal expiration. Also, there will be procedures on the wheel and Facebook, all the usual locations we put communications out. And then gate security will be arranging mini decal days at the North Clubhouse rear parking for Wednesday, February 5th and Saturday, February 8th. We know we'll have some seasonal people come in with the bootleg decals. So you heard it here first. If it's silver on your car or you see one on your neighbor's car, please ask them to come up and change that out. Finally, just a little fun fact. Did you know we have phone chargers in the KPCH lobby, the South Club lobby, that cafe seating area, and at the 2020 lobby. So if your phones are going dead, we do have an opportunity for you to charge up while you're here. And finally, just happy holiday wishes to the board and all of Kings Point from all of us at Vesta.
Ginger, question. On the sticker that will be expiring, is there a possibility when you do the flyer to ask First Servant to send it to the association board so they can post it on their bulletin boards in each association a lot of residents don't go on the
Good
wheel.
idea, yeah.
It might be advantageous if the presidents or the boards post it on their bulletin boards and they will see it.
I'm sending you a love letter. Thank you, good idea.
And for the records, Janice, I noticed that Dan Hector has joined us, and can we note him as president
That's president.
as president on it?
I saw him come in.
You didn't stealth him, man. Gotcha. Yeah. All right, great, thank you, Ginger. I appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Before we go on to the committee meetings, I just want to kind of make, I understand there was a handout put out on the table. Just want to make sure I do my disclaimer here. This was not cleared by us, does not have anything to do with the Federation, does not reflect or recognize an opinion by any Federation director or board member up here. It was, generally, these should be cleared with us before you use the meeting to pass these out. I did not get an advance notice, but I just want to let you know that that's not from us to you, that was from an individual member here to you guys, so kind of where we're at with that. Committee members, committee reports, let's just start, Dan. Yeah, welcome to the meeting. Do you have anything to report on any committee?
Mike,
You and Mike. So there's not a person named Mike on a committee.
Okay,
Dan, I know it's early for you, but
Nothing?
Do we want to talk about Holland tonight?
If there's any committee, I don't, if there's anything to report, I don't have anything to report on that.
There's nothing that's really changed.
Okay, all right, very good. Then nothing today on any of the committee.
Contracts are moving along. We have pretty well set the renewal contract negotiations between First Service and ourselves. There are a couple of items that we are trying to get cleared up and properly documented on the contract itself. Once we get to that point, we should be able to be in a position to present it to the board. Jack might have another comment.
in regard to that, those items have been per our request. And after final review, First Services Council will be sending it to the Federation Council for review. So basically, the renewal contract for a new 3-year term is completed.
Okay, so we're pretty well good to go. In terms of the contracts with the landscapers and the master, we have recently reviewed the history of the 2017 master meeting, and in looking at that and reviewing that history and what was requested of the Federation, the master at that point said they would take over all activity of the landscaping and the irrigation.
We will go
including
a little
that.
bit more in detail on that, I think, in just a few seconds. Just to make sure
Okay,
we're all up to date.
So, you know, based on those things, we did what we were supposed to in terms of contract, removing things. I know that I got an email last night from the master with a little thing that they're going to have a meeting next Wednesday, so I don't know what else we can do at this point. We did what we're supposed to do. We're not really
I'll
involved.
address that in a few seconds as to our next
Okay,
steps.
and I'm sure Janice will talk about the insurance committee, so I have nothing else to add.
Okay, very good, thank you. Thank you. Rick, how about the KPCPC?
They're very active again, even during the holiday period, but I have a question for Ginger. I've been asked by a number of people relative to how we're coming along with that condo comparisons, community comparisons we did about getting them somewhere.
The PSA?
Yes.
Yes, yesterday you reported, Lauren, that's done, isn't it? There's just a couple more tweaks you're doing to that? Yes.
Where are we going to put it at?
It's going to be
If
put
it's on
on,
the wheel, there's not enough time on the wheel to read it.
and the website.
Okay, very good.
Yes.
And you've got the audio now also?
Yes.
Very good. There's your questions, committee. Thank you, that's it.
Thanks, Rick. Dave, anything from Lawn and Landscaping?
The Landscape Committee during the first quarter of next year would like to present to the community meet and greets with all of the landscapers. We're going to do it by section 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we'll have an opportunity for the POCs and the presidents to meet and greet with the landscapers and ask questions, and I'm sure they'll want to give a presentation for all of you, but we're looking forward to having that presented next quarter.
Great, thank you. Janice?
Insurance, the Bush Ross we turned everything over to them. They have sent out the RFPs, and we're just waiting for a timeline from them so that we can see exactly how the process is going to flow. But I know the RFPs have been sent out.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else? Alan, anything? Palm tree would be good. Since Noreen's not here, if you have anything on the health and safety. Okay.
On the palm tree, we've completed the second round of palm pruning. Our next thing will be in the spring. But just as a reminder, I wanted to make sure everybody got their notices in, the work orders from POCs. If there were branches missed, that's the only way to get it resolved. But I would like to read something directly from the contract to you as a reminder. And this is in supplemental pricing, Exhibit 2. In the event an association inside Kings Point requests tree pruning services in between contracted for pruning cycles identified herein, the contractor offers to provide supplemental pruning at $60 to $90 per hour. Each association shall be financially responsible for the foregoing supplemental pruning charges, and pruning requests shall be collected by the Federation and batched together every 60 days for transmittal. So just be aware that in between, the association is responsible for any supplemental pruning you want done. If you have hanging palms, you can pay that and take it down, or you can wait till the next cycle.
All right, great, thank you. And obviously we'll use the POC process, keep it in the chain so we know what's happening and we can measure the results and make sure we're managing it effectively. All right, great. Thank you.
I have one other, just came to mind. I need to point out that the land trust, the company that manages the land trust has been sold, and we now have a new company to work with between the land trust and business investment.
Okay, new trust bank, right?
Yep. And trustee.
And trustee. New trustee.
That's
Very good, thank you.
the trustee, not the manager.
The trustee, yes.
Yeah.
It's New Jersey, right?
We scared Ginger.
You didn't get that memo? All right, very good, thank you, thank you. Any other committee reports, any other information? All right, very good. On my president's side here, there's not a lot I can do that to anything you guys have said. That was good. I got 2 points I just want to make, just kind of reiterate some comments that are already out in the public area. At the last membership meeting, I advised the membership that the Federation had met with the master regarding an attempt to resolve the outstanding irrigation issues, enhancements and upgrades, and would update you when we had some sort of information on that. Well, in regard to that, the Federation did consult, which is part of the conversation that day, with our legal counsel, and after a thorough review of by our counsel, the Federation has been advised that the Federation has no standing in the issue, and that the issue resides solely between the Master Association and the Master Association members. And this is the membership at that for the Master Association. You guys kind of have to decide which way you want to go with it. The Federation Board notified the Master of our legal counsel's opinion and is waiting for the Master's and its membership's reply and help us determine kind of which direction you want us to move in relative to your best interest. You have to make that decision first as a Master and membership. Send it over to us. We then will take it, look at it, and we'll present it to our membership, and you will tell us what to do. We don't have the authority to make those kind of decisions. This is a community decision, and you guys need to be involved in it. So just kind of want to let you know. And I think speaking on behalf of the board, not only as directors but owners of homes in this community, we stand ready to help in any way we can. But the original transfer was structured specifically, and we have no authority or venue in the matter currently. So the ball is kind of in the master association and the members' hands now. When you guys decide what you want to do with it, then you'll send it back to us and we can go forward with it from there and work on an approved agreement that you guys decide we're going to go forward with. So that's kind of where we're at on that. Also, the last meeting I did extend an invitation to the master to work together with our consultant in discussing developing an effective plan and consolidating the two boards. Currently, I haven't had any response on that invitation. It's still on the table. We'll work with it any way we can. We, as a board, aren't necessarily in any position to move forward with anything other than the idea we have, but we want that consultant to look at both ideas and give us some feedback on which one they think would be best, if either, and give us some tips and some ideas how we can correct and move forward together as they, just kind of waiting on that. So we're in a waiting pattern there. Video did go out, I understand, online. Somebody just referred to it last night very late, so I'm not sure you got to see it. If anybody's here, after I adjourn this meeting, we will hang around for a few minutes to do more of a town hall question and answer session. Anybody has any questions of anything that may have been on that video that triggered a thought or a question that you have currently, so we can make sure we keep information clear and moving forward. So at that point, that's my report. And that takes us down to unfinished business, which on the agenda is none. New business, which on the agenda is none. And now we're to good and welfare. Does anybody have any announcements they would like to make? Okay. All right. All right.
Good morning.
Boris, just identify yourself and your association.
Boris Davis from the COA office.
Very good.
Vice President. The announcement is that the COA office will be closing the week of Christmas. That's from December 23rd through Sunday, December 29th, and will be reopening on December 30th. That's a Monday. And the reason for the closing is General Manager Rudy Surtan from Vesta is in agreement with the COA Board of Directors. We're closing the office because we had water seepage through our concrete floor, damaging the carpet, and so new flooring will be placed in the office, and that gives Vesta's contractor time between those two dates to accomplish that there. So we thank Rudy and Vesta for their efforts in helping the COA get back in shape. Thank you.
Thank you, Forrest. Dan?
Ken Higgs, treasurer of the
Dan, check the mic. I don't know if it's turned. Listen,
Ken Higgs, treasurer of NWT. Behind one of the units, we have a sinkhole.
I'm going to tell Rick and I are going to be checking it out, so we don't need to go there.
No, but when the grass is cut,
Okay.
I walked around and I saw these things.
Okay.
They should be notifying us when there's a problem.
We have that on the list to talk with that. We'll get that squared away for you. Absolutely. Thank you, Dan. Next.
Hello, I'm Shelley Brooks, and this is my partner in crime, Joni France. And we are in charge of a program called the Empty Bowl Project. And the Kings Point Pottery Club has been a godsend to us. They have donated 400 pounds of clay for this project. The Empty Bowl Project is an international program brought to bring awareness of hunger throughout the world. Our project is going to raise funds for the areas underserved in the children. Yeah, for children in the Kings Point, Sun City, Waimama, Ruskin area. and Joan will tell you about the event.
So when I first approached the Pottery Club, I was told on the way in by somebody that I would never get 400 bowls. You're never going to get that. And that's 400 pounds that they paid for. And I walked in and they said, "What do you want?" I said, "I need 400 bowls." So they donated at that point. They didn't even flinch. They said, they looked at Ralph and said, "Do it, we can." We have 400 bowls. We're selling tickets. It's being sponsored by United Methodist Church. I'd like to talk about a little bit about the underserved in the area. During the school year, when school is not giving them lunch, we give them lunch. We give them a sandwich, a fruit, we give them a full meal, and we deliver it to them in a mobile home park that looks like a third world country. We give them food when they don't have it. This year we bought school clothes, we bought shoes, we bought jeans for a girl who had no Levi's. We bought blankets to keep them warm. This is what this $15 donation on January 22nd will go to. I encourage each of you, after this, go to the lobby and buy this. But without Kings Point Pottery Club, we would not be up there. We would not be selling tickets, and we would not be feeding the underserved.
Thank you.
The event itself, you'll come to the event, you'll pick out one of the beautiful bowls that were handcrafted. You'll get a meal. The Methodist Church is providing soup, 4 different types of soup, bread. So it's a meal, and then you come away with a bowl that, the tickets are $15. These bowls would sell for $30, $45 at an art fair.
Very good.
Brian, may I?
Sure.
If you would like us to help you with some promotion on this, and we can do a turnaround and just film exactly what you said and get it out there to the community, we'd be more than happy to help you with that. Lauren in the back would talk to you about it, if it would help. I know it's a short time frame for your program, but it's great.
Well, thanks for your efforts and thanks for your...
Thanks to the
Thank you. Ralph Belcher.
Ralph Belcher, president of Kings Point Pottery, here with the double whammy. Making 400 bowls, woo! Yeah, they're really beautiful, and my goodness, folks, we live where we live. Most everybody could help those unfortunate, and we're happy to do that. And actually, you know, the club is also supported by the community. So you all have helped us help them. And that's part of why I brought a $500 donation to the Land Trust to show the thanks of the club to the community and the Land Trust for supporting our club and making Kings Point a real destination, a life destination that gives you the best going away party you'll ever have. Be it 15 years, be it 15 weeks. It's great to be here.
Jenny or Lauren, can you come get a picture? We're going to have Ralph shake Brian's hand, and we always like to get a photo of accepting money. Well, wait a minute, keep shaking. They're not ready yet. And that was my fault. They didn't get the great big 6-foot check this year, but.
All right, thank you.
Thanks again to the Pottery Club. Wonderful meeting.
Thank you, Ralph. I'll just keep this. Make sure he gets there safely. Thank you. Thank you.
Mike Bardell, Chief of Sun City Emergency Squad, here to give you notice that we are going to come up with a new program. It's going to be preparing you for disaster for the residents. We also do one for the leadership in May, but this one is going to be all geared towards homeowners. We've already set down the date. It's February 25th. It's going to be for the community. So it's going to be in the morning, it's going to be here. In the afternoon, it's going to be in Sun City at the CA. We are going to have a lot of different speakers. It's going to be very fast-paced because we don't want anybody falling asleep in the audience. So they're going to have, if you can't make your statement and say it in 5 minutes, you probably can't say it in the daytime. So we want this to be very fast. We're going to have Hillsborough there. We're going to have a lot of different people. I could speak to you about shelters, but we're going to try and get the guy that runs all the shelters in the county to tell you where you might be able to go, and the different people that can help you with your own personal safety, what you should do, where you're gonna go, who you're gonna call. We wanna try and give the homeowners that kind of information to make the appropriate decisions, whether you stay, go, or how to prepare and how to be safe. That's all for right now.
Thank you, Mike. Mike, you scared me a little bit there when you said you could give us notice. The last person that said to me told me to get off the property in 5 days. So, but thank you for the program. That sounds like a good program to get going.
Well, we just want, my intent was to just people to say the date, that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. All right, anyone else? It looks like we are good.
I had my name on there.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Come on down. I apologize for that. Got so wrapped up in the whirlwind of excitement.
This overall is a general commentary.
Okay.
And this board has already touched on
Use the mic. Use the mic.
Our board had their first meeting, the budget meeting.
The name and association.
Oh, Clark McDowell, president of Fairfield East. We had a board meeting about 3 weeks ago, and this pertains to the budget, of course. And this is my commentary on this. The overall budget is great. There's hardly any changes in it. And that's great for us, for each association. Anyway, there's the comments that I made, because I'm normally attending these meetings, was the reduction in our loan because of your Federation Finance Committee having refinanced and knocked off over $9 on it. This is very favorable. I bring this up because you guys are sort of in the background. The Federation, Master Association, it's the things that they relate to on a daily basis that's going to come out of this. Because I mentioned, like, the Federation administration is down a little, the Master is the same, First Service is the same. This is wonderful, but it's sort of an abstract. They don't relate to it so much. It's nice that they don't get hit with an increase. Well, what it comes down to at the very end is the lawn and landscape. I know Rick has brought this up just a few minutes ago, and what I was going to comment on it. This is what we relate to almost on a weekly basis, lawn and landscaping, and how they operate. And in this, of course, is an increase in our landscaping fee this time. I was here last year when this came up about Brightview taking over. They started in April, and that's when I left, so I didn't really get to see the outcome. But I understand that was a 2-year contract. But why the increase right now, I don't know. That's what part of this. This is what people say. This is what the feedback I get is because of what's going on here.
Yeah, and Clark, I think there'll be an answer for you.
Okay.
The contracts.
I'll attempt to answer your question. Last year we did, effective April of this year, the Brightview contract, because Yellowstone left for Section 1. That contract was more expensive than Yellowstone had a contract rate with us for, so there was an increase within the Brightview contract. And one of the reasons Yellowstone left the property is they wanted more money because they had underbid what they believed the cost would be. In addition, Juniper, who was serving Section 3, wanted more money because they had underbid the contract, and we were forced to do an RFP for a replacement for Juniper, which Russell was selected. An RFP was put out. There was also an increase with the Russell contract. So this year you are seeing an increase because we had to replace 2 of the sections, or 50%, and those new contracts actually were priced at a higher rate than the contractor Yellowstone who left and Juniper had left. Because basically, and I think the landscape committee, and Rick will agree with me, those contracts that they had provided to us were undercut. They had, both of them, the capability of terminating the contract on 120 days notice without cause, which they chose to do because of their loss. We have since removed that clause from the contract, so a landscape contractor cannot just terminate a contract, and it holds them to, that's what you bid, that's what you will pay, and you can't come back to the Federation or to the residents of this community and say, I want more money because I didn't bid it appropriately. So when you see the increase, it is because we had to replace 50% of the contractors on property because they basically underbid their contract and then wanted to come back to us and squeeze us for more money.
Could I add to that? The landscaping industry over the last 3 or 4 years has seen substantial wage increases because of the labor market itself is just so competitive right now. As an example, Miami market, a lot of the landscapers have actually had to bring in labor from outside of the market and house them during the week to do the landscape. The Tampa market isn't that severe, but according to Paul Woods from OLM, labor rates are increasing roughly at least 11% a year, which is a major impact to our contracts. I mean, we do have a contract, the pricing's good for the 2 or 3 years of the contract, but they are seeing extreme pressures on labor, which is roughly 75% of their expense.
Yeah, let me make just a general comment too, just on budgeting, just from a treasurer's point of view. Because you identified, the budget, there's a lot of things in that budget, and there are a lot of reductions, which is kind of a good thing too, that helped offset some of the increases. Landscaping is very important. We don't want cheap. I don't think we want cheap on anything. No. Cheap always turns out to be very expensive, to tell you the truth. We want value, though. We want good value. We want good quality. This is the place where we live, and we want things to be good and kept up and all that. So, from year to year, and all the individual things we look at, we try to hold on costs. We try to get a good value on things. From year to year, things change. Sometimes we never remember what happened last year or this year or next year. But again, we do try to hold on costs and provide a good value.
Additional comment, just so you're aware, you said you saw reductions. The board was aware, the Federation board was aware that our insurance would be going up. And we knew that there was an increase in the landscaping. So when we looked at the other areas that we did have some oversight over, we were able to reduce those budgets by, and one of them was the land trust. We reduced the land trust budget by $700,000 to hopefully compensate for the increases that we were seeing. We also reduced the Federation's own budget. So we understood the impact that the landscaping and insurance would have. And being mindful of those increases, we attempted to offset them by reasonable cuts in other areas so you wouldn't see massive increases.
So, thank you, Clark. Thank you. All right. If we have no more good and welfare, I call this meeting adjourned. Motion to call it adjourned.
So moved.
So moved. We do have a town hall. If you have some questions to ask, just hang around for a few minutes. We'll let the room clear of anybody who wants to leave, and we will address any question you may have.